Hi, hope you're doing well. This is Michael of Mondo, the Flame Thinker. Today is 5th May 2020, and still, like most places, Nepal currently is going through a lockdown. I do know that there are some states like Germany and India who have loosened up their restriction a bit. I think that rest will follow soon, and when this pandemic will be over and when we'll have some ideas about the true numbers, I think we will realize that this thing wasn't as dangerous as we thought it was, and we'll understand that there was medias and politicians and others who actually try to just make a fear among general people so they can push through their agenda. A lot of people fear that the lesson that at least politicians got from this pandemic is, yeah, they can restrict the movement of their population if they can. I think this might harm the democracy and the rights of individuals and rights of people over government. I don't want to speculate too much about it, but it is possible at least the politician now can say, yeah, we can do that because we have done that. So that's one point that I think that we have to consider. And another thing that was the financial damage, and there was other damage, like people were starving at places and people were dying trying to go return their home, and for other reasons. Was the lockdown even worth the lives that we saved? First of all, we do not know how many lives we have saved, because the most people who died in corona are old people who probably would have died anyhow, at least within a couple of years, maybe 5-10 years. And we do not know how many death was just because they had other kind of complications. I was watching a video that my fiance posted on her timeline, a video of a scientist who actually won the Nobel for chemistry in 2013. He was saying that the influenza actually killed more young people than, on average, more young people than COVID-19 did. Now, if that statistic is true, which it is, then we can conclude that as a virus or as a disease, it is possible that influenza 1 is the strongest one, because if COVID-19 was the strongest one, it should have affected and should have caused as many casualties among young people as influenza 1 does, but it doesn't. So that actually might give us some ideas that most of the death that we are counting might not be just because of COVID-19. It could have been from other complications, and it's very possible. And he was making another point, I think, which is a very good point, and I will agree. I think you will agree that too, that life of a young man or woman, or life of a young person, way more than life of a 60 years or 70 years old person. Now just imagine that you are in a situation where there is two people in trouble and both will die without your help, but you can help only one. But one of them is 70 years old and one of them is in his mid-20s. Who are you going to save? If, let's just say, this is both are moral and good person, I think the choice is obvious, that you're going to save the young person. And that's the point. People who died trying to go to their home, among them was a little girl in India. I was reading a post, a little girl in India who tried to return her home on foot. It was hundreds of miles away, and she died trying. I do know other stories like people committing suicide, especially a 12-year-old girl in Bangladesh committed suicide, and that's something that we have to deal with and have to consider. So overall, the financial damage and the other kind of damage, the starvation, was the lockdown worth it? I think we can agree, and we already know that as a fact that we are told many lies about the numbers, especially how many deaths, how many people were infected. I mean, when people will start to do more study, like how many people have antibody of corona, I think we'll be absolutely sure the number of people who have corona will increase by a huge margin, and then we'll be able to assess that what was the actual death rate. And if you go through the age population, how many people died over 50, how many people died over 60, you will understand that it is not as deadly as we thought it is, because people who are already old, it's highly likely they will have other complications already that will contribute to any kind of disease they have. So those kind of things should be considered. I think that we are going to see the end, not the end of corona, probably end of the situation that we have put ourselves, like lockdown and things like that. I think we are going to see the end of it within a month, and then we'll be able to cool down, sit around, study, and know what was going on. I just hope that politicians who have an idea that they can use thing, especially if they can make us scared, they can make us stay home too. So I will hope that in places like USA or European Union, the people who actually enjoy freedom, at least way more freedom that someone like me is not used to, I think people there will understand that this is not a good sign. This is not a good sign for freedom. If you like this video, you can consider to share it. If you want to follow me, you can do that through my YouTube channel, The Fleeing Thinker. You can also do that through my Facebook page, The Fleeing Thinker. My name is Michael Opumondol. You can follow my page too. You can follow my fiance's page. Her name is Sarah Kevin. I will attach the video that I was talking about the scientist in the description box in this video. I'll hope you'll consider the point that he made. I'll hope that you'll consider that freedom is something that have came in expense of a lot of blood and lives, and we cannot let other people take away from us just by making us fearful. Thanks for watching this video.